Easily turn your website into a bilingual or multilingual website. If you are using the free version, you are limited to one extra language. And if you are using the pro version, you can have a multilingual website with more than just 2 languages. To enable this, we go to the CMS dashboard and then go to project settings. And you will see we have the option here in the toolbar at the top to click on translate. The first thing we need to do is to make sure what is our original site language. In this case, it is English, so I leave it on English. But if you composed your original site in a different language, like Estonian or Hungarian, then you select it over here. Next, you need to add a new language that you want to be translated into. I'll click on it and then translate to a language. Let's go ahead and choose something Swedish. Next, I will make it public because I want people to actually see it, but I can detoggle this if I'm still working on the translation in the back end. Auto-translate is only available for pro users. On free, you will have to manually translate, and we'll look at that in a short while. Let's activate auto-translate to see the power of how you can easily make your page a new language and then just make a few tweaks afterwards. Auto-switch, you can enable if you want it so. What this means is that if somebody comes with a browser where the default language is set to Swedish, it will automatically load the Swedish version of your site and not the default English. And that's it. Now we click here on Add Translation in the bottom. We've locked it in. And when we click outside, our page still appears in English. And the reason is because we're working with the English version. What we need to do is bring in some kind of helper that can make people choose between the English version and, of course, the Swedish version. And that is done with the language element. Go to the Add Elements drawer on the left, and you will see translation appears here. Click, hold, and drag, and I'll drop it here inside this container, and we see English appears here. Let's delete this spacer. Let's save, Control-Command-S. And go and preview this page on the front end. You can see we have our page here with our switcher at the top, and I select and Swedish appears at the top. If I select Swedish, our page switches and it goes to our Swedish automatic translation. Now, I cannot speak Swedish, but in the event where you realize some of this translation is not spot on, and in most cases, it's not going to be 100%. You will need to go and do some manual changes to it. Let's go back to the content management system. And in this case, we select pages because we want to make the changes to this page only. Select the page by clicking on it, and you will see the translate option appears here in the top toolbar as well. And this is going to give us all the translation here that has happened automatically. If you are using the free version, this is where you will come and do it manually. In our case, if I see any place I need to make changes, I will make it here and it will update. From here, you can also add media images if you have different images that you want to display for the media instead of the ones that you've used on the English one. If not, it will by default display the same image for both versions. If you want your language selector to appear on all pages, you can go to your block all the way to the left and select Make It Global. Another nifty feature is if you want this to be separate to the rest of your header. I'll select the element, then go to Settings, Styling, Position, select Fixed, and from Vertical Offset, I will set it to the bottom. Here it appears now at the bottom. I will bring it up a little bit so it's further away from the bottom, and then from the horizontal offset, I will move it a little bit to the left. You can increase the width if you want, but in this case, it's already good enough. Now, whenever I scroll on my page, you can see the selector remains there at the bottom. This way, it's very easy for people to have that floating toggle for the language switcher on the page at all times. If you have a multilingual site, simply go to the CMS, Project Settings, Translate, and add your third, fourth, or fifth language, and so forth.